This is the University of National Champions. This is part 9. We're going to chop it up, though, here in a few on 94 feet of UNC.
Gordy to Black. The time, 18. Shot, Jordan! Michael Jordan!
Swicker with the defense and the rebound. That's a good effort by Swicker.
Stackout streaking in on Park. Rebound dunk is good, and he gets fouled by Park. Oh, my goodness, what a dunk by Stackout.
I think that he brought him back so quickly, but you know what? They're down the in fairness. You can't teach that. You can't teach that high-rising ability. 3. And Green rips down the rebound in traffic. 4-on-1. Great job. What a terrific job in transition. I mean, you could.
The glass no good. Rebound followed by hands. No good. Carolina.
Inside 30 overall. Love, top of the key.
Alice, the bounce is over. Carolina. The Tar Heels have won the national championship.
And that is it. There is a new team in college basketball. North Carolina takes the title. Captain, any final. North Carolina is the 2009 national champion. And this year, the confetti is going to fall to North Carolina. They're not going to be denied this time.
What's up, everybody? You are tuned in to the 94 feet of UNC podcast. I am your host, Lindell Graham. Of course, I got a big special guest in the building with me today. But before we get into everything, make sure that you like, subscribe, share, comment, hit that notification bell on my YouTube channel. Support the channel for sure. I appreciate all the love and support. Follow me on my socials at 94 feet of UNC. Much love and greatly appreciated. But my special guest today, we're gonna get right into it, is Mr. Danny Green himself. Danny, how are you, my guy?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you. I'm doing well. Everything is going smooth. I can't complain. So
absolutely, that's
what's
up, bro.
It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel, right? Shout out to the women's soccer team who just got another national title, number 22 for them. So got to show them love. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel.
For sure. Look, I think that now gives UNC 52, 53 national championships as a total as far as all sports. So I mean, that's huge, bro. That's huge.
I didn't even know it's that many, but that's pretty good. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad
I don't think other schools have that or whatever. At least not that number, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, big shout out to the women's soccer team for sure, man. Putting in that work, man, getting that natty. So but yeah, man, as you can see, listen, this is the Zell Dome. You know, I done had a lot of the guys come in, chop it up with me or whatever. As you can see, my iconic poster that I have right here on the wall with me. You know what I'm saying? The iconic.
Did you just put that up for today, or you had that forever?
Don't do
put that
me
up
like
today.
That, D.
Okay,
don't do me like that. Nah, that's been there, bro. That's been there, man. Like,
okay.
I got it like maybe a couple weeks after I started the podcast for sure.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, let me get that, man. Put that one up for sure.
It's
so you know,
it's a good picture. It's a good picture, man.
Absolutely, that was a good moment.
Yeah, sure. wouldn't be a great moment unless we won the game. So I'm glad we got out of there with the W.
That's for sure. So listen, man, we go get right into things because I know you got to spare the moment, and of course it's you know you here and you got a little bit of time or whatever. So of course I appreciate you stopping through and everything. So you know just to jump right into things or whatever, like. What as a fan, because I've always been a big fan, of course. So, but you never know what happens on the other side of things. So, tell everybody and walk us through like your recruitment like process on coming to UNC.
Oh man, you know I was a late bloomer, so I didn't get recruited early by high Division I schools, let alone Carolina. Once they recruited me, it was a wrap. It was easy for me to make the decision, but you know. Coming out of high school, my sophomore, junior year, I was going to ABCD camps to get more recognition. So lower tier schools, D1 schools, and then sophomore going junior, some upper schools, but still like middle and some, but it wasn't the top schools. But that summer going into my senior year, I played well at ABCD camp, and that's when I finally got recruited. And I was getting recruited by higher, like, top schools. I had UConn on the list. I had obviously Carolina, but my top 5, St. John's and Pitt, were in there. And surprisingly, NC State, because they were recruiting me before Carolina came into the picture, like a year or so before. This is when I would consider myself a lower tier, high D1, but lower tier in the top, the top schools. So yeah, I was getting recruited by a state, and I said UConn, Pitt, St. John's was close to home, but there was some, other schools, and I was getting a lot of letters. I was thinking people collected letters. But once Carolina came to the picture, I was the last class that can go to the league straight from high school. And I was lucky enough to get in the McDonald's game. If you see our class, like our McDonald's game, I was lucky enough to get in that game because we had a plethora of pros, really good pros, and guys that went straight pro, like Monte Ellis, Lou Will, Gerald Green, Andrew Bynum. I mean, you listen to CJ Miles. We had a list of guys, Martell Webster. There was so many guys that went to big time schools and that went to pro straight from our game. So I was lucky enough to be in the game, honestly, and I was lucky enough to get a scholarship and get it before other guys took it. So when Coach Williams came to my house, I didn't take an official visit yet, but he's like, we really love you, we recruit you, but I'm not gonna lie to you, there's other guys that we're interested in, and we're waiting to see what the commitment is. We don't know who's going to the league, who's not. And I jumped on it right away. So I made sure, like, I was one of the first ones, Coach, I'm coming. I'm committing to school. I want to get there. I want to go there. Before Martell Webster or anybody else took the scholarship. But once they started recruiting me after that summer, it was over for me. It was easy. He came to visit, in New York, sat down and had some dinner together in my house, my old house, in my living room or whatever. So it was cool. But so once he came in, he said, he never promised me anything. I don't think he promised anybody anything. Just an opportunity to become, a great young man, and an opportunity to give yourself a chance, an opportunity to play, an opportunity to get a degree or a scholarship, and whatever you put in the work will come out and give yourself an opportunity to get on the floor. Never promise any minutes or starting in the center, but you'll have an opportunity to play, which means you have to work for it. But yeah, my recruiting process was one that came in late. I wasn't an early bloomer. And we had Tyler, who's also in the McDonald's game, Hansborough, and Bobby Fraser also was there. We had Marcus. These guys all committed a lot earlier than I did. Mike Cope was I think me and him committed later, but those guys are my class, and these guys been known to be really good players before their senior year, before they even and McDonald's game came about. So some of them recruited since sophomore, junior year. So we went on our visit, but I was late to the party.
I got you. So, and listen, it all panned out and it all worked out, right? You became a Tar Heel. If I'm not mistaken, you went 4-0 in Cameron, right? If I'm not mistaken,
I did. So I've been very lucky. I've been blessed to even go to my dream school, to be able to beat rivalries, have a winning record against most rivalries, and play with the group that I play with, and finish my last college game as a win. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't happen to many people often.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Winning the national championship, which kind of leads right into my next question. Like, what did it feel like when that clock hit 0-0? Like, winning the chip and the confetti falling and all of that.
So I've been very fortunate to win more than one championship in my life. And in college, still was a big deal, and I have a couple NBA ones. And each time it's a surreal moment, hard to put into words. And that championship was so long ago, but it seems like yesterday. I can still remember how special it was. And I think I had an injury, so I wasn't able to celebrate the way I wanted to. I could barely play the way I wanted to in the Final Four, but us getting it done, because each year we lost and went further. Like, first year we lost in 32, then we went to Elite Eight, then we went to Final Four, and then we got smoked by Kansas, and then came back and finally get it done, and said, win with my family there, my father there, and our fans. It's a moment. It's hard to describe. And all of our alum, you know what I'm saying? We had Mac Tar there, Pep there, like Vince, all those guys in the building, like a bunch of guys in the building watching us and supporting us. So it was great, man, to just see them there. It was great to have our families there. It was good to celebrate, even though it was in Detroit, which wasn't that fun of a city, but we made the most of it. When we got back, we seen how Franklin Street was going. We was ready to get back to hang out at school and be with our fellow students to celebrate.
Yeah. I remember it just as clear as day. Like, I was working at a beer company and I was cleaning beer lines, and I just happened to be on one of the restaurants on Franklin Street. And next thing you know, Franklin Street was just packed, and the buses came right down Franklin Street just to turn on. What's that? Is that Carolina Way? Carolina Road?
Possibly.
Whatever that road. Yeah. And I mean, you guys was headed to the Smith Center for the ceremony and all of that. So I remember it just like it was yesterday, man. But, like, listen, I know I haven't been able to tell you, but congratulations, of course. I mean, I know it was so long ago. Congratulations on the NBA titles too. Like, I mean, listen, a lot of people aren't fortunate enough to be able to say that. So,
like I said, I've been very lucky, man. I've been put in some really good positions, man. I can't take credit for it all. And my resources, my coaching staff, my teammates played a huge part in me having the career that I've had.
Yeah, absolutely. So my next question will be, what makes Coach Williams the GOAT, and like why is he the GOAT, and what was it like playing with him or
playing for Coach? Yeah, it wasn't. It's not for the faint. You know what I'm saying? It's not for the weak. He's a guy that will challenge you, which makes him the GOAT. And it said one of my best coaches that I ever had. And I've been lucky to have some really great coaches. I've got coached by Pop, and even my high school coach was a perfectionist. But he had a standard, man. And not only did he teach me the game, he taught us how to be men. He had theories of the day, principles, how not to, go to class, make sure they checked us, even though they had some stipulations. And Rashad is saying, cheated and stuff like that. No, we went to class and we had to get checked to make sure we were in class on time, doing our work, and not cut any corners, and make sure we weren't taking any money from boosters at the time before NIL. But teaching us how to be men, touch every line. Don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat the game. And also just learning about life. Obviously we had offensive, defensive sayings that day, but we also just had a saying of the day, like, teach a man to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. Those little things. No one cares when who gets the credit, when the team, that type of thing. Everyone successful type of thing. So, the small little things of those, reading those every day and learning them and understanding them, not only taught me how to be a good, a professional, but a good player, but a great human, a better person, how to be a young adult and go about things the right way and doing business the right way and having some integrity and character, and how far those things go in life. The more energy, or the good energy, or the vibes, or the things that you put into it, the right things you put in, the right energy you put into something, the more you'll get back from it.
Right.
So yeah, I learned that much from him. But he challenged me, pushed me. He learned. I learned how to take criticism. Without him, I would not be able to deal with Pop. Without him, I would not be able to, withstand the ups and downs of the NBA. But yeah, him just challenging us and challenging myself every day, to be better, to continue to work on myself, work on my game, whether it's chasing somebody off screens or defensive slides, or touching a line on a suicide, or our preseason conditioning. Those type of things are all the make up of a player and a person. So ultimately, and he tried to do it without cussing, without changing himself, and devaluing his integrity. So he held the standard for himself as well. And every time we lost, he'd be the one to blame himself, as in the media and to us. So he took accountability, and he taught us how to do that as well. And those things are probably more important than anything else when it comes to the game of basketball or any type of sport.
Right. Yeah. As I talk to a lot of the alumni players, from Pete Chilcuts, from the Kevin Salvadoris, up to like guys, in your era and things like that. Like, a lot of them say that, Carolina is a family, but the way that Coach Williams structured things basically was kind of like a mirror reflect on what Coach Smith did. And, it just passes down from each coach to each coach. So
he learned from his greats. I mean, it's all Send the elevator down, man. And that's why it's such a strong bond, and that's why some of the staples, the principles from way before I was alive are still going on today, because it
Right.
started with the greatest of Dean Smith and so on and so forth, and trickled down and trickled down, and now Hubert's got all the philosophies, the theories, and these kids are learning the things that we learned, and how
Right.
to be successful not only as a player but as a human in anything that you do.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, big shout out to Coach Williams, man. Like, him, Coach Davis, Coach Smith, all of them, Coach Guthridge. I mean, it just, like you said, send the elevator down, man. And I mean, the next picks it up. And I mean, just to go from generation to generation and decades to decades. And here it is. You have all of these coaches that don't curse at all. Like
Very
going back
few.
well, in the Carolina family, because I know
Yes.
Coach Smith
Yeah.
didn't curse, Coach Williams didn't curse, Coach Davis don't curse, Coach Guthridge don't curse. So you talk about 50 plus years of coaching without
Mhm. I'd
saying
imagine Doherty probably cussed a little bit.
right. I mean,
But
yeah, and that part I don't know, but
yeah.
from what I do know, as far as the those other four, I mean, hey, I mean, what can you say? But that's the tenure is
Mhm.
just incredible. Like to even just have a coach on the sideline for that long, as far as that long year spans or whatever,
Mhm.
without using profanity, is just remarkable. So I
Yeah,
mean, big
and he
shout
got
out
out at the
to
right
all.
time too. Big shout out to all of them, but he got out the NIL thing. I can imagine him trying to navigate this space. It's a lot and
It's
it's too much.
crazy.
So
It's crazy. It's crazy. So D, I gotta ask you, like, what are your most like give me one of your most memorable moments at UNC on the court, but then one of your most memorable moments maybe off the court. Like,
um on the court, man, there's so many. Even though I said it seems like just yesterday, every time I go back there, nostalgic, and every moment. The first time I stepped on the floor, my first game, being nervous as hell running through that tunnel and
yeah,
hearing the band play and doing our pregame warm-ups and me scoring, I think 17 in a preseason game or whatever, the game or against a team that wasn't maybe like Asheville or something like that, another Carolina school. But just trying to make a name for myself
right.
to, all the NCAA tournaments, the ACC tournaments, winning those. I said there's so many. The list goes on. Like I'm saying, I can't just pinpoint one. But the most
Right.
memorable, obviously the NCAA championship. Obviously winning at Duke. Every time we went there, our freshman year on, Tyler carrying the load and being who he was, and leading us to victory night in, night out from his freshman year on. Getting Ty Wayne and all those guys, winning a couple ACC tournaments. But yeah, man, for me, senior night, winning a senior night, be able to play in front of my pops, because he had been incarcerated at the time previous for 2 years when I was at school. Wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to see him or him see me play again. Him be able to see me play a senior night, win that game. Him see me in the Final Four, win the national championship, and obviously beating Duke at Duke. And we had a lot of great games, even playing Clemson in that building, playing at Clemson, playing in Maryland, playing with so many teams that we played that we
Yeah.
won't forget. And just being with that group and going into battle with those guys time and time again. Even the losses, being in the locker room after NCAA loss and losing to a George Mason who went on an unbelievable run, losing to a
Right.
Kansas in the Final Four in San Antonio. So yeah, all those memories, they all stick with me and they never leave. And just being with my brothers are the biggest thing. Just hanging out with them, bunch of kids trying to become adults and trying to win something or make something special of themselves during that time and after that time, trying to find our way. Those are the memories that will forever stick with me.
I got you. And what about off the court? Any funny stories with some of the other players or with some of the other
We had
guys?
said those go. The list goes on with that as well. Just the pregame for the football games. We had the pickup games in the summer, pickup games before practice or practice before we go to tailgate for the football games. Hanging out with them, even having Greg Little as a football player. That having those guys be with us. Mike Cope having fun on the side with him. Partying after wins, celebrations at the clubs, living with some of them on campus, off campus. You know how it goes, man. It's just
Right.
so it's a laundry list of memories off the court where we had times of places that don't even exist there anymore. Places that we used to eat at or party at, hang out at, certain streets we hung out at. And said you get nostalgia, just certain moments when you go back, you're like, damn, I remember we used to be over here. I remember even having class over here with them, trying to, get out of this or get a good grade in this class, or the pit, being at the pit where before social media, the guys one kid broke up with his girlfriend and like posted it as like a video, the video cameras back. Like that was before people started trolling and doing stuff like on camera and spreading it viral. But viral moments at the pit where we used to eat out on the wall, people used to eat over there by the calf. Just so many moments, man. Good and bad, funny moments. But they all come back every time you step on campus.
Yeah. Once again, as I talk to a lot of the guys, man, like a lot of them say the same thing. Like it's so many different types of memories. Like, I had Dexter Strickland on and he was talking about how, they had a big prank going on between him and some of the other players. And I mean, just having fun, the camaraderie between the players and the relationship and the bond between them is really what brings out the best for each player on the court too, as well.
For sure,
you build that. Yeah.
So that's why most teams in NBA, it's hard to win a championship in NBA because it's hard to keep a group together for that long. I did 4 years. We had a group behind us for 3 years. So for us to have that group, most kids now are leaving one and done, but NBA trades free agent. Now NIL makes it like a free agent. So it's special to have a group for that long. And I don't think it'll be like that for a while because of how NIL is in portal. So during that time, I wouldn't want any different. I'm glad that I got a chance to be a part of it during that time where guys had to stay in college, had to fight it out. If you transferred, you had to sit out a year. It was hard. And, figure it out. We weren't getting paid. We weren't living the life. We were all in the trenches trying to figure it out,
Right. So I do have to ask this because I spoke with my father and I told my father that I was going to have you on the show and he was just so excited. Right. So
give him my best.
So I have to ask you I got to ask you 2 questions. Number one, what is it or what was it like playing with LeBron? Like,
so dad's a LeBron fan.
No, he actually my father is a Jordan all day long. Like, So, but he wanted to know what it was like just to play with him.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the greats are special, right? For a good reason. And a lot of them are very similar. And there's a reason why they are great. And some of them are different. Some of them are just great because they are great. And not all of them are really good leaders. Bron was a big kid, man. He liked to have a lot of fun. He learned how to be a great leader, I think, when he went to Miami. When my first year in Cleveland, he was still younger. And, Shaq was there. We had some other vets. We had Jamario Moon, Anthony Parker, Varejao, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Boobie Gibson, Mo Williams. The list goes on. Delonte West. So I learned a lot from every single one of these guys. But he was younger there, and I don't think he knew how to. He was a solid leader, but he didn't know how to win at that point yet or become like a true leader. And he was still looked at as a young up. He was a superstar, but he was still a youngin, a young vet anyway. He was year 6 or so at the time. Watching him from them to be able to play with him in LA and actually play, because my Cleveland I didn't play at all, but we'll start and play with him and see how much he's changed. But he still liked to have fun, big kid, but he's very off the court, very humble dude, like to kick it, hang out and make fun of have, jokes, like gamble a little bit, just a little bit of everything. He liked to be a big kid, prankster, all that type of stuff. Comedian, one of the funniest fucking guys you'll ever be around. Nonstop watching movies and analogies and stuff like that. On the court, same. He's about business though. On the court, he's about business. So he makes the game easier. And at times, sometimes it is not going to be easy. Like there's going to be pressure on you. There's a microscope on you. You got to play well, especially playing for the Lakers organization. It's already a microscope. But playing for the organization of the Lakers and playing with LeBron James, all the LeBron fans are expecting you to live up to the hype to help this man win a championship. So are the Lakers fans. So it ain't the easiest, but playing alongside Bron, man, is a lot of fun. He's always been a great friend. He was a great teammate. The guy, for being such a superstar, he's the ultimate humble, teammate, for the most part.
Right.
Only other person that I would say was better was Timmy. Timmy was just a great, he doesn't care about anything. He didn't care about any media, any of this or that. He encouraged us. But those two guys stood out from the most in the fact that they were just, to being such superstars, they still interacted, wanted to hang out and led and wanted to make sure the team was together and bonded. Other superstars work too and great. Some of them just don't know how to lead. Some don't know how to talk to guys. Some guys just stay to themselves. Some guys don't know how to be with a group or plan dinners or make us do this. And it's not for everybody. It's not easy to do. And he's been under a microscope since he was 17. So I give the guy a lot of credit and a lot of flowers and kudos to him for able to not only live up to exceed the expectations that everybody had for him. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many number one picks that come out there like, oh, he's going to be the next Jordan. He's going to be the next. For him to actually do it and surpass all these people and break all these records, man, he had it hard too. Yeah. Like all these people, all these media outlets, all the cameras in his face since he was 17. I don't know who else could have done it, man. It takes a very mentally tough person to do, those things.
Yeah. So and this isn't my second question, but would you say that him and Timmy was probably your, like, I don't want to use favorite players to play with, like, because everybody has favorite players that they just loved playing with in the NBA, like, and things like that. So would you say that, like, him and
yes,
Duncan
they're definitely
like
some of my favorite, top favorite teammates that are superstars. Yes, like in a category of their own, as guys that you're like, oh, you love to play with them, that are superstars. Like who was easy, who was a humble superstar. Those two guys separate themselves. I would say there's guys that really made the game, like Kyle Lowry, Tony Parker in the paint, and with teams that shoot threes like that, so they had to pack the paint. And I'm getting wide open. Manu just throwing risky passes, and Ty Lawson, even how fast he was, the speed of the game for him, and running with him, trying to catch up, and the defense trying to keep him out the paint, leaving me and Wayne open on the wings, and him throwing me some lobs here and there. So it was great playing with all those guys, and I gave them a lot of love. But when it comes to superstars, those two were for sure, in a category of their own.
I got you. So my second question from my father is, we as Carolina fans, we all know, we heard the big announcement, maybe a little over a month ago, that you finally officially retired. Like, what in a way, I mean, because the NBA career and the career at UNC, of course, it all shows for itself and speaks for itself and everything. But like, and I mean, long tenure in the NBA, of course. What like led up to the retirement, and how's things going now after you have finally retired and everything? Like, what's been going on?
Things are smooth, man. I'm at peace, and that's why I made the decision. I didn't feel like I left anything on the table. I did everything I could to try to get back, and I tore my knee. But a multitude of things happened for me to make that decision. A year ago, I was in Philly. I was in really good shape. Felt I could play, and I was waived. The cards it didn't pan out for me to stay there. There was a trade that happened, James, with the Clippers, and they brought in more guys. Thought I'd end up back there. Ultimately, it didn't happen. And the fact that I was getting older, I was working out, and once you're out of it for that long, and you're at that age, 37, and try to jump back into playing, your body is reacting differently. So I started getting little ailments here, little strains there, and it's like, all right, maybe my body's telling me something. I did a couple workouts with teams. Some of them went really good. I had a couple workouts with the Clippers, went great. They were like, we don't have any space right now, but if you can just wait. And I'm just like, I'll see how long I wait, but I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be waiting around for too long. A couple other workouts, it was like, damn, it might be time. Even playing with them kids down in Carolina, I went there for the summer working out with them. A couple of times went great. A couple of them sessions, like, damn, it might be time for me to hang it up. They're chasing these young guys. They're really good and fast. So work out with the Warriors went okay. Then ultimately said, at the end of the day, it was like when I wasn't getting phone calls like that, having to wait for injuries and not being with the team in training camp again. I'm a guy that likes stability, and I wasn't going to go a whole nother year without knowing what I wanted to do and having a set schedule. So I was like, you know what, it's time to move on, go on to the next thing, the next chapter of life, and find something that's different where I can find another stable routine in. And I was like, I'm gonna do media. So I'm gonna do media and try to find a stable routine, get a schedule, have, instead of like waiting for phone calls, waiting for this to happen, no, I'm gonna do a different job. And so I played more than enough years, more than I expected anyway, exceeded my expectations. And I felt I left everything on the table. I tore my knee, got back in 8 months, and was hooping. And I showed even this past summer, even in workouts, that I was still very capable. A lot of it's just, cap space, politics, numbers, money, names, youth, with GMCU, and I know I could hoop. I know I could play. So the only person I needed to prove it to was me. Outside of that, it didn't matter.
Yeah. And I went to one of the summer games in Chapel Hill, like, and saw you out there on the court, and you and Cole and Kenny Williams and everybody, and it I was just like, hey, like Danny still got it, like the boys still kicking.
Yeah, I don't know if I showed that enough in the games anyway. Some of the pickup games, 1 or 2 pickup games. But yeah, the scrimmage or whatever, when Cole was there, I didn't really show enough. But yeah, I mean, I could still get up and down the floor, corner to corner. That's all I had to do. Space the floor. Defensively, when I felt like I was inadequate or not as good, that's when it was like, it's time. At moments, I was just like, I didn't feel the energy or the motivation to be like, I need to keep chasing this guy, or I need to stop this guy. It was like, I'll play defense a little bit here and there, but I'm like, I have nothing to prove. But if I was in a situation where I was playing for a team, then it'd be different. But I know where to be, when to be there, how to talk or anchor a defense, and those things I think I could help in the locker room with vetting some guys. But most teams felt they didn't need my services, so at that point, it was time to go. It wasn't just my decision. The league kind of, I wouldn't say forced me, but they helped me with my decision of retiring.
Yeah. I gotta ask you this: did you think that the media job would come so quick?
No, and it hasn't. It's not a full-time thing. I'm doing part-time with, and it's not exclusive. I'm working with different networks. Obviously ESPN said the extension, so I've gotten more days with ESPN, which is great. But it's not exclusive to work with just them. So I've done some stuff with FanDuel, which I did earlier today, and I'm doing stuff with Turner, which I'll do this weekend. So I'm dibbling and dabbling in different areas and trying to figure out what I like, what I want to do, and hopefully, next year having a stable network job with a group.
I got you. Well, listen, there's always a home right here at 94 feet of UNC. If you ever want to join as a host as well, absolutely, bro. Like,
I
for sure, we family. Family is family.
Yeah.
That's what we do. So, but so my last question that I want to ask you is, how do you feel about this year's UNC team at this point, right now?
I feel like when we always have expectations too early, we don't live up to them. I feel like we're a good team. We have some talent. I love what Seth is doing, man. Worked his ass off this summer, and I got a chance to work with him some, stepping up and playing well. The young guys, Ian and Elliot, RJ is doing well. I'm saying? They're doing decent. They're just figuring it out. I think we could have used Harrison back again. But that's neither here or there. Another one, Zayden, he got I guess suspended for a little time. It could also help. I think he's a great athletic big. But the cards are what they are, right? And you have to figure out how to play with what you're dealt. So we have enough pieces to get it done. I just think it's just we come out. Teams are giving us, because we have so many expectations, and that they already, once they crowned us, but they've given us such more respect in the media. Teams are looking at us and targeting us, like, all right, and they're jumping. The first half, we're just a terrible first half team for some odd reason. Always playing from behind and coming back down 10, 15, 20 points second half. And some of those games we get lucky and win, but most of those games it's hard to get a hole and win those games. You lose to Kansas, you lose to Dayton, you lose to even at home, Alabama, which was a tough one. Can't let them jump on you that early. It's going to bite you. But I still see this group as a really good group that'll figure it out, bring it together with Hubert, behind the wheel. I see is always going to be a late run somewhere. We're going to figure it out like during the right time. It's good. We'll take the lumps in November, December. I don't care. Right. February and March, that's when we need to be clicking. End of January, February, March is when we need to be clicking and making a run. ACC title, NCAA title. So I think we're right there. And I think that's when teams will come, I don't say let off the gas, but they won't look at us this is number one team in the country. Like we need, and not that we are scared of that target, but I think we'll be the sleeper at that point, because teams will have in the world will have low expectations for us, and then they think like, we could beat Carolina. They're vulnerable, and it's like, we are, but we're a different team than we were when you saw us in December or November. So I like the group.
So I gotta ask you this, because I want to get your opinion on this. I had this discussion with Ray Terry and Dino about I would love for UNC and for Coach Davis to go back or go to the Bill Guthridge method. And so a lot of people always ask me, well, what's that method? Well, when you think about it, when Bill Guthridge was coaching, there was a 6-man starting rotation. You know, you had Jameson, Coda, Big Mac, Okalaja, Carter, and Shaman, right? But every game, somebody was sitting out as far as starting.
Okay.
Do you think that, because a lot of the talks have been about Coach Davis maybe changing up the lineup, things like that. Do you think that using that type of method, and for every game you might have different starters for every game, just because of how big that team may be, how small that team may be, they could be fast, whatever the case may be. Do you think that method is a good method to like go with, or just stick with a starting 5 for the remainder of the season, where every team is going to know, okay, these are their starters, so now we know how to deal with this or whatever? We can probably, the other team might be thinking we can go up 15-20 or whatever, and it's going to make it harder for them, or change up the lineup, and whatever that team has, if they're tall, then let's go big on the lineup. If they're small, whatever the case may be. But using that type of method to for pre-game or for each game preparation.
And that was Coach Guthridge, you said?
Yeah, Coach Guthridge did that when he had the Okalaja, the 6 guys,
Okay.
and everything.
I like it, especially, I mean, with young kids, some of them need a booster. Obviously, there's certain guys that should never not start. You should have a solidified 3 guys for sure. Now, 2 other guys can rotate, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Between 3 guys, you can rotate between the other 2 starting spots, depending on confidence kids need or the lineup and the matchups, right? If we need to go small, ultimately it's all dependent on you. And I ain't no coach, and I ain't gonna tell Hubert how to coach what he's comfortable with.
Right.
If he thinks that he's better with knowing the rotations, keeping it that way, making it simple, cool. Make them adjust to you. Some people, that's a way to go. Like, listen, we're good at this, and they can go small. They're gonna have to adjust to our size. They can go bigger. They're gonna have to adjust to our speed. So that's one way to approach it and be confident in it. So I love whatever way he feels necessary, and with the group that he has, and he knows his players better than I do, and how confident that they are. But if some of them need a confidence boost, or some of them need a change or keep on edge just to stay motivated, you can rotate, 2 or 3 guys. If it's a 3 or 4 spot needed, Seth and RJ should definitely start, and then you should probably have a consistent center or big that's for sure starting, whether it's Withers or whoever. But you can rotate the others and see how it goes. But ultimately, I said, it's all up to how Hubert sees fit and how he feels like comfortable with, changing up the line, I said, and knowing in the rotations. And obviously, some guys, they want to keep the guys so they know their minutes and know what and you don't want them to lose confidence, because sometimes it can shake that.
Right.
So I think it's probably more efficient or better all around that people know their roles and stay with those roles until further notice, where there's an injury or somebody goes out or something like that. But if it's like, yo, you come off the bench, but we need you to be a scorer off the bench. We need you to be the leader on the second group. I was that my junior year. You know what I'm saying? Like, the second unit, I was the guy to come off the bench and give us a spark, which I was okay with. Obviously, I wanted to start. I'd love to start. But, there's guys like Jamal Crawford that come off the bench in 6-minute. Malik Monk, there's guys for a reason. Doesn't mean it diminishes you or your role or what you are to this team. You mean a lot to this team. There's a way to communicate that. Yeah. So, I'm better with at least knowing your spots, knowing your minutes. Listen, I know I'm coming in 5-minute mark, or I know I'm sitting down 5-minute mark. I'll take a break here. I'll be playing 20, 25 minutes, and I'm coming in and out, instead of, today I'm not sure. I'll wait for coach's number. I'll wait for who's the lineup. That's okay at times, but I think for pros anyway, it's a little more confusing to not know when you're going and because obviously longer game, and it's not halves, it's quarters. But with college, it's a little different. So.
Yeah,
but it's something to experiment with. If things are going wrong, it's something to experiment with, especially if some of your players are getting down and losing confidence. And it's like, all right, I need to throw this guy a bone. Let's throw him in the starting lineup and see how he reacts. Yeah. I'm saying, listen, I'm going to throw you in today, see how you go. All right, we're going to take you tomorrow. We're going to throw you in. Listen, this is sit them all down. But it's all communication, and that's what keeps things effective.
Yeah, and that was exactly my point. Like, it's a confidence. It keeps the confidence up, because I mean, not to point fingers or pick on anybody, but like Cade Tyson, a lot of the expectations was huge for him coming in this year, but it seems like the confidence might be down a bit. But with certain games, against a LaSalle or a Campbell or some Boston colleges, something like that, hey, start him. Let him get out there. Let him try and get his shot going. Things like that. And then, hey, he might not start next game. It might be Lubin that's starting or whatever. But at least you're keeping the guy's confidence up. Not only that, but it also helps you out at the end of the season, because that also helps you to retain players instead of them leaving to go into the transfer portal.
Yeah, saying like, oh, I never started a game, I never got opportunity to start, or
Yeah.
But it also makes you a deeper team. Guys getting that experience for when that like they're used to being in different positions and they're stronger. They're becoming better players. The more opportunities, the more minutes on the road, the better they become at driving. Right. So the more opportunities they get a chance to do different things or play more minutes, or be in different situations, they'll get used to it. So God forbid something does happen right before ACC tournament, a Kendall Marshall situation or an NCAA tournament. You got a guy out, and nobody's like panicking. Like, what do we do? You'll be prepared for those moments.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, DG, I appreciate you, my guy. I definitely, it's been an honor for sure, man. Like, I mean, one of my favorite players at UNC for sure.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just an honor and a pleasure to be able to sit here and chop it up with you a little bit. But I appreciate you stopping by and just, talking with me a little bit, man, or whatever.
For sure, man.
And I got some more things lined up or whatever, but we'll be in touch, and we're gonna make some other things happen or whatever. So we'll I keep you posted and keep you updated on things.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you having me, man. It was just dope. It was bringing me back down memory lane a little bit. Get a chance to talk about the old days, the good old days. And best of luck moving forward.
And it's always an open invitation, bro. Like, anytime you want to stop through, chop it up with me. Like, I can get you, Ray, Dino on the show together. Like, we can really do some different things for sure, man. So, but
definitely.
Always an open invitation.
Let me know when that happens. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you need a Carolina table talk, or sit down with the group, I'm around, bro. I do this. I have multiple podcasts on my end. I do multiple now. Need to kind of scale back, but podcast is my space. So
I got you. I might need to bring you on, man, so we can definitely do some shows together, man. Like, maybe we'll talk about it, man. We'll talk about it. I'll hit you up later, and we'll discuss some things. So listen, man, keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, congratulations on everything, on a major successful career. I wish everything and I nothing but the best for you moving forward, for sure. And we'll be in touch, and we'll be watching to see what Danny Green got going on.
Appreciate it, man. Same, man. Keep up with the good work. Keep getting the good content, man, and give us the good stories. So best of luck, man. And so we'll be in touch, man. You stay great, man. Absolutely. Always a great day to be a Tar Heel.
Absolutely. That's Danny Green, everybody, for sure. Appreciate my guy for stopping through, man. Like, absolutely. Like, we're gonna wrap things up. Yeah, that's Danny Green, man. So we're gonna wrap things up or whatever. I appreciate everybody for chiming in. Y'all already know it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel, for sure. Of course, I gotta salute Danny for stopping through. And until then, I'll catch everybody on the next go round. All right.